Hi everybody, very excited to see everybody again. I hope we've made your wait worthwhile. We had a couple of interesting behind the scene obstacles preventing us from going live earlier, but this is all part of God's plan to make this class even better than it would have been if we started at 9 o'clock. So again, I want to tell you this is the seminar of the Successful Man Seminar, a seminar which is focused on helping you really reach your true potential in life, in all the dimensions of your life, from your career to your relationships, whether you're married or not, relationships with other people, your level of happiness, your spiritual journey, and your closeness to God. And in the weeks that have passed and the weeks that will progress, we'll be going through all the different areas of a man's life and arm you with a lot of different tools that can really help you transform your life. All the teachings that we are going to be talking about and have talked about are based on the teachings of my beloved spiritual guide and teacher, Rabbi Shalom Arush, who has written numerous books that we are going to be referring to all throughout tonight's class and future classes. And I really, really suggest that you pick up these books. They can be found on Amazon, and they can be found in bookstores and other places online. The books are notably The Garden of Emunah, The Garden of Peace, The Garden of Gratitude, and many, many other books that are just absolute gems that have transformed the lives of millions, literally millions of people around the globe. And when we say these millions of people, they're all coming from different backgrounds, different creeds, different religions, because the teachings are so universal and simple but powerful. And I myself was one of those people that was lucky enough to find the books of Rabbi Arush and have transformed my life. And I've only been learning these teachings in the last 2 years. And they have done miracles for me in every area of my life. And this is the inspiration for the class. Now, our group, Junity, because it is focused on helping people connect to God through different ways, and some of them less than traditional ways. One of the ways is music. Music are like wings for the soul. So we decided to change up the format tonight, and before we start the class, I wanted to have an artist perform. And all the artists that we will showcase here are people who know the teachings of Rabbi Arush, and whose lyrics are very much empowering and focus on man's journey to find and reach his true potential. So I want to introduce you to a really, really interesting artist from LA. His name is, he goes by Neats Oates. His name is Ariel Zamzaleg. He's from Los Angeles. And he's gonna break it down with a nice song. And right after the song, we'll come back and have a really good class. The class being called tonight, The Master Key to Open the Gates of Success and Happiness. And without further ado, I'm going to give it to Ariel. And feel free to dance wherever you are if you're viewing this. And those of you who are sitting here, you don't have to sit.
I just want to say, the music I make and stuff, I wasn't coming at it from a perspective other than just trying to be myself. I think Hashem, the real inner will of Hashem and God, He wants every soul to come back to their root, to who they really are. Not to try and be someone, to try and please anyone, to try and be something else, but to let that true spark of godliness that's in your soul, to tap into that and let that shine, because that's where Hashem is. And that's really what Torah and what learning and what it should bring us to, is to bring us back to our souls. Not back to, not necessarily back to Torah, not necessarily back to a synagogue, back to the root of our souls, who we are as Yidden, as people with divine sparks. So, yeah, let's get started.
You're gonna need to turn up the volume for this one. Yeah. Check it. I was always different, yeah, I knew it back then. Even when I was a kid, I was full of passion. Wrote a couple rhymes and I started rapping. Right about my life, how everything had to happen. As I grew up, I reached the dead end. Talking to God like he my best friend. Every day that he gives to live a blessing. Tell the right path, had to switch directions. At a crossroad like an intersection. An angel must have been sent to save my life. Cause I was doing wrong here to make things right. Now I'm here, but I'm gone, taken by the light. Doing what I know, I'm just saying what I like. Motivated to lift the people up to the greatest height. Traveling in spiritual plane, all aboard, yeah. We about to go take flight. Put in the work to see a brighter day. We gonna make it through the darkest nights. Playing in this game, burn a spark of light. My soul on fire, about to leave minds lit up. Elevate the people, yeah, these rhymes lift up. Play it again, might need to rewind this one. Might need to rewind this one. Yeah, rewind this one. Play it right back, like it sounds so good when I say it like that. Real music, I bring it right back. Always keeping it real, how I feel when I rap. And all I ask is you listen, as I'm packing the words like ammunition. Ride to the rhythm, collide with the rhythm like a crash collision. Yeah. This way of life is the only way I know now. Moving at the speed of light, no need for me to slow down. No need for me to slow down, cause it's the only way I know now. Moving at the speed of light. Moving at the speed of light. Moving at the speed of light. My life moving at the speed of light. And I don't wanna be like them, I just wanna be who I was made to be. Cause I am not like them, and it's clear now. Yeah, I know it's plain to see that I had to go my own way. That I had to change my old ways. Got caught running from the cops. I remember back in those days when I was young, acting like a hooligan, doing things that I would never do again. But I grew up, now I know God watching. So why would I even try to be fluent in? I'm swimming in the waters of knowledge of life. Some swimming in the pool of sin. Demons want me to drown in the deep end. They try to pull me in, but God is my fortress, leaving my enemies defenseless. I'm in the world gone mad, just because it feels like it's senseless. And it seems like everyone just looking for an exit. But don't they know that life is priceless? And so I write this with a message, hoping to inspire some to come closer to the highest one. Cause we want Mashiach, we are just praying, let the Messiah come. So from above, that's where I am from, the heart of a lion from Zion. Always keeping it real, making some music that people can feel. This way of life is the only way I know now. Moving at the speed of light, no need for me to slow down. No need for me to slow down, cause it's the only way I know now. Moving at the speed of light. Moving at the speed of light. Moving at the speed of light. My life moving at the speed of light. 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 My life moving at the speed of light.
Stay tuned for any more music. God willing, I'll put up new stuff. Check out Ariel Zamzalag, E-R-E-Z, last name A-M-Z-A-L-L-A-G, at Facebook, or Untitled Music on Instagram. And give it up to Ariel for putting this all together. Thank you.
Thank you, Ariel. Beautiful song. So, tonight's class is called The Master Key to Open the Gates of Success and Happiness. And before I begin, let me say that this is a class that, unlike the other one, where we say that women should not watch them because they've been about marriage, tonight's class is really a non-gender-based class, so anyone can pretty much check it out. Why is it that so many people suffer and are plagued by despair, depression, sadness, and chronically being down? Why is it that the greatest enemy of people is this self-persecution that they experience on a daily basis? The voice that tells them in the back of their head that they're just not doing well enough, they're not good enough, they're getting the short end of the stick, and that really they've been dealt a bad hand in life. The reason for that, the root reason for all these different adjectives that really refer to sadness is a lack of gratitude. There's nothing more hateful to the Creator than a sad person. Why is that? What's a sad person? A sad person is someone who says, you know, God, I don't think that what you've given to me in my life is fair, and I have a better idea than you about how you need to really take care of me. A sad person, in many cases, is someone who's really angry at God and who says, God, I have a better plan for life than the one you did, and you need to listen to me. You need to listen to my cries and complaints about the unfairness that you're giving me and the suffering. Why, God, you can't do things the way I want them? But really, a sad person is really someone who lacks gratitude, and he has the audacity to be angry at his Father in heaven, who since day one has only given unconditional kindness to their child. It's someone, God has given you every breath of your life. The blood that is pumping through your veins every second is all coming from God. Every breath, the divine spark of life that is flowing through you, is what enables you to be here right now. He's performing hidden miracles in your life. And because of your sadness, because of this selfish view that you have, and when I say you, I don't mean people here, just the sad person, you don't see these hidden miracles. And because of that, if you want to get out of this self-imposed hell, and it really is a hell, because sadness only begets more sadness. It doesn't get you out of the hole. The only way to do that is to stop crying and to thank God for everything, for the good that God gives you, as well as what you might think is not good, what looks like it's bad. Because in the end, as we'll learn in this class, everything is for the good. Even what seems to be bad is actually orchestrated by God in a perfect way to come into your life, to basically challenge you to become a better self than you are today. Because most people, if they don't have a challenge, they will not awaken to the reality that they need to fix themselves. So, if you cling to the belief that everything that God gives you is good, you're ultimately going to see that bad situations that God puts in your path are actually the best catalysts for you to grow and improve yourself. Now, there is a popular idea that is false, that the Creator wants to punish us, that He actually gets sheer joy of seeing us suffering, that He gives us these challenges so that we can cry and be sad. This couldn't be further from the truth. And the way for you to really understand why this is false is by thinking of God as the greatest Father that you could ever have. Greater than even your biological father or a friend's father that you admire. Now, your true Father, He wants you to achieve your full potential. When you're hurting, He's hurting. And when you're succeeding, this is the greatest happiness that God gets. But God knows that in order for us to become our best selves, in order for us to really get to that, to reach the path that He sees and has designed for us, we have to fix our inner character flaws. And that can only be done by having obstacles or seeming obstacles. So in tonight's class, in the weeks to come, we're going to try to develop tools to become our best selves and how to really have a constant state of gratitude, because gratitude is really the key to open the doors of all your wishes in life. Someone who has gratitude and who thanks God is holding on the highest spiritual level that you can possibly have. And you don't need to read 1 billion books or to become some person who's isolated and just constantly in some trance to figure that out. You just simply need to learn to thank God for all that He gives you. And as we're going to see, everything from God is good. So now that we know that one of the key missions in our lives is to uproot this really negative character trait that is in most of us, this trait that is much more attracted to complaining and crying and blaming external factors other than ourselves. This trait that leads to sadness and to basically dismissing all the good that God does in our lives. Now that you know that saying thank you for what is good and saying thank you for what is bad is so key. Let us look deeper now into all these various things and see how we can achieve this state of constant gratitude. First, let's talk about what happens when a person cries and complains all the time. Whether he does it in his prayer to God, whether he does it without any prayer, just telling other people about how they feel everything is so bad. When God sees one of His children sad and crying, from God's perspective, they don't understand. They're just He's trying to give you everything possible to give you the tools to succeed in your life. And you're crying. So He says, oh, you're crying for nothing. I see. So you like crying. I'm going to give you 100 more reasons to cry about real things. So what does He do? He sends you more obstacles to nudge you. In the beginning, they're like soft little hits on the back. And if you still don't get the fact that you need to really look into yourself, to self-analyze what it is about yourself that you need to change to get you on that road to success, then those obstacles can become bigger and much more challenging. And in some cases, they have to be drastic to cause someone to want to change themselves. And we've all met people that have these moments of truth, and they usually come around crises. And that's for a reason. Because God wants the best for you. He doesn't want you to be in a state of constant sadness. This is why sadness is one of the worst things, the most detestable things to God. And you have to fight tooth and nail to uproot this state of being from your life. It's a daily battle, that's for sure. And it's not something that you can master and relax. Every day you have to muster the energy and the reasons to be happy and to have gratitude. And I'm going to show you some amazing tools that Rabbi Arush discusses in his books that can do it in a really practical way. So what we're talking about here will not be something 10,000 feet in the sky. It's going to be something that you're going to really be able to do. And I'm going to give you those ABCs of how to do it. So, the main reason that a person has problems is because he cries and complains about his life, instead of looking at the good points in his life. When a person cries and complains, God shuts down every window and door for prayers. And He even tries to build new walls using His angels to block your cries. Just doesn't want to hear it. Doesn't want to hear you cry. He wants you to say thank you, and then everything in your life will self-repair in a really miraculous way. Everything. And I'm going to give you life examples of people that have done that by the mere change of switching to wanting to thank God as opposed to complaining, how their life changed in an instant. It might sound like hocus pocus to you right now, but by the end of the class, God willing, you will believe that. Now let's look at the point of view of a father and a child. We discussed that a second ago. But I want to really bring in this image because it's very hard for people to imagine God. And one of the best metaphors to imagine God is a father and you're a child. A father from day one is providing for their child. From food, clothing, a roof over his head, after-school activities, outings to restaurants, amusement parks, money to buy toys, going on trips, and so on. Now imagine this child comes to his father after he gets all this stuff, and there's a lot more than that, a lot more than that, and starts listing 10 things that he doesn't like about what his father has not given him. He says, "Dad, you're not doing your role as a parent. I know better how you should be a parent." And he even tells his father, "You're actually failing at your job because I'm totally miserable." Now, a father will likely have initial compassion for such a child. But if this is a repeated behavior, do you really think that the best way to deal with such a situation is to appease the child and just give the child everything they want? Definitely not. That's a recipe for disaster in parenting. Who wants to listen to an ungrateful, spoiled child? Nobody. This is why, in the same way, the selfish cries that are behind complaints of people in their life, whatever they may be, I'm not happy with my job, I'm not happy with my wife or husband, I'm not happy with my friends, I'm not happy with my kids, I have so many debts, I have this, I have that. This is why these kinds of things that lead to more and more depression draw you further and further away from God. But when a person decides to thank and praise God, right away, salvation and miracles start pouring down his way. In the same way that he closed the windows before to a crying person, he now opens every window and door because he wants to hear the prayer of such a grateful person. The Creator sends angels to break down those walls. I want to hear every prayer of this person. And he says in the opposite way, you want to thank me? I'm going to give you 100, 1,000 more reasons to thank me. Same way. God showers this person with presents and many things to be happy about. Sorry, we're back again. A little technical glitch. And we were saying that just when a person begins to say thank you to God for everything, for good and bad, the opposite scenario occurs, where God breaks down every window and wall between the person and God and just wants to hear more and more of their prayers. He sends angels to open those pathways. And he says, you like thanking me? I'm going to give you thousands and myriads of thousands of reasons to thank me. And he showers them with presents and things to be happy and for things that that person didn't even pray for. When we say thank you to God and start living a life of gratitude, miracles that we can't imagine start happening on a daily basis. We start seeing things that we've been hoping for our entire lives to change, changing in an instant. At the same time, we become aware and we start appreciating all those little hidden miracles that can only be seen through the eyes of someone who's coming closer to God. We start seeing, wow, We start looking at our past life and we start piecing together the maze of obstacles that have come our way, and we start realizing that those very obstacles have brought us to this point of happiness that could have never happened without those obstacles being in place. We start realizing that God has been our champion all along. And we start having some remorse even for the moments where we weren't happy about those moments. We start realizing that, wow, what an extraordinary journey. Only God could have designed this amazing game. Only God could have made this journey come in such a way. Now, each one of us has a different path. There's no two people that have the same path in this world. But the spiritual laws that are behind each person's journey hold the same. And we're going to start talking about what are these spiritual laws that we need to know in order to come to this state of gratitude. When we start living a life of happiness, it's important to start taking account and thanking God on a daily basis. It's not something you can do on a weekly basis, a monthly basis. It's something you have to have a new level of consciousness, another sixth sense for this gratitude. Every single day, you have to take stock of the things that God is giving your way. Because the more you thank God, the more abundance you get. And it can get to a point, and I really hope it will happen for you, that it humbles you. Because you just can't believe how good life can be. It could literally be a paradise on earth. And you just say to God, you're sending me more good. I don't even deserve it. It's what we call a free gift. Because in the end, everything that God really gives us, our brains, our talents, the assets that we acquire, everything, it's not because of the sweat of our hands and our might. It's because God wants to give it to us in His compassion. It's a free gift. When you start looking at life in that way, you have this humility. And only from a place of humility can God enter your world. God cannot enter and cannot be amidst an arrogant person. And that arrogant person being also a sad person. So, the successful man that we're talking about here is not only someone who's thanking God for positivity and good things, but it's someone who's able to thank God for what seems really bad at the moment. We have to thank God for our obstacles and problems. So for example, I don't have a job. Thank you, God. I have no money. Thanks. I have debts. Thanks. I have lawsuits. Thanks. I have a difficult marriage. Thanks. And so on. Now, it makes perfect sense to thank God for the good in our life. But it seems so unnatural to want to say thank you for something that's so bad. So how can we say thank you for those aspects of our lives that cause us emotional and sometimes real physical pain? How can we do that? How can you say thank you for being sick, for being unemployed, for being lonely without your soulmate for years, or any other problem? It doesn't make sense initially, does it? Thanks to Rabbi Arush, it all makes sense. And I'm going to tell you why. Now first, before I can answer this question, and this kind of dilemma for a lot of people who have a problem with being grateful for the bad that happens in their life, we need to look at two scenarios. The two ways in which people address obstacles. The first one we already spoke about, and it's about basically crying and passing yourself off as a passive victim that's really being hurt by external factors other than yourself. It's not my fault. It's my parents' fault. It's my upbringing. It's my wife. It's my boss. It's my ex-partner who screwed me in business, and so on and so on and so on. And we said already that when you have this attitude, it only begets more sadness and more obstacles and more problem. Because from this position, there's a lack of gratitude. A person who is trying to connect to God, the one level of crying to God is not effective. Why is that? Because that person is not really looking to serve God. He's not really looking to nullify himself to God. That person really wants God to serve his needs. Says, God, I got a better plan than you on what we need to do here. Now, of course, the results from this kind of approach is total lack of success in life. And many of people that unfortunately are plagued by these traps, the traps of our evil inclination, that voice in the back of your neck that is trying to bring you down and look at everything from a negative pair of spectacles, that is not what we want. And that's what our goal here in this seminar, to eliminate, to uproot it completely. Now, the second way to deal with a problem, with an obstacle, challenges in life, is exactly what we want, which is to thank God. So again, we're back to the same question. How do we thank God for the things that are difficult in life? So to answer this question, you have to accept two spiritual laws. These are spiritual laws that are in the DNA of our world. You cannot change it. No matter how you think that it may not apply to you, it's been there before you, and it's going to be there always. The first thing is that everything that happens in this world is from God. God is the one who paves the road that has been designed for you to walk in. And God designed this way according to the way that He envisions should be your life and mission and purpose in life. Now, God knows what your purpose in life should be. He knows what your full potential should be. And He's going to do everything because He's a loving Father to get you there. Even if He has to endure episodes of you crying and suffering, He wants to do that to awaken you. So, if you get a lawsuit, that's God who sent you the lawsuit. If someone is shouting you out in the street, that's really God who sent that person. God has many messengers to send His message to you. So, don't kill the messenger, as they say. If anything that happens to you, parking ticket, whatever it may be, a difficulty in life, a sickness, that's God who gave it to you. Now you may say, wow, that's so cruel. But again, for some people, that's the prescription to change them, to put them on the road to happiness, because it's the end goal that matters. It's not the means here, it's the end of where we're trying to get to. Now the second spiritual law that you need to accept, besides the fact that everything that happens in this world is from God, is that everything that happens to us is actually for the best. It's for the best. So, whatever is harmful to us and on the moment causes us suffering and pain, it's for the best. And because only God knows what the purpose of your life really is, until you're equipped with enough tools to have this high level of awareness of where you should be going, He knows which problems to choose that you should get. He basically is your navigator, helping steer you in the direction that will put you on the right path. As a result, if you really want to attain happiness in this life, you have to see every problem as a blessing. You have to really understand that it's sent to us to awaken us, to examine ourselves, to check our head, to look into ourselves and be honest and truthful about where we're holding and what are our true flaws and what we need to change in our life to really live the life of success and happiness. For example, imagine you find yourself facing a lot of resistance going in some direction. Maybe it's because God simply wants you to take a left turn instead of the wrong turn, which is to the right. Now, every problem, every obstacle that you get has a hidden message behind it. And that hidden message, when you unlock it, will help you navigate to a much higher place in your life. And this seminar is about to try to tap in to what we call God's wisdom, to develop the knowledge and understanding on how to really decode these obstacles, to understand what do these obstacles mean? What do I have to do in this situation? And I know up to now, it probably seems like, well, how do you really do it? This seems you still haven't answered my question. Okay, I'm interested, I'm on board. How do we do it? So before I tell you this, I want to share with you just a couple things that I personally experienced. The power of gratitude I've seen in my own life, and I've seen it transform the most difficult situations that I didn't think I could get out of, and this is only in the last 2 years. Because I started saying, you know what? I've tried the crying, I've tried the bickering, didn't get me anywhere. You know what? I'm going to listen to this Rabbi Arush, and say thank you. Let me just try it. And as I started saying thank you, I started seeing things, problems, slowly but surely turn into blessings. Now I've met and I've seen people who've had sicknesses, who when they said thank you to God, thank you for this sickness, this is the only way in which I could have gotten close to you. Had I not had this wake-up call of this sickness, I would have never thought of praying to you. Because when I'm healthy, why do I need to think about God? Do I need to think about breathing? Do I need to think about having a digestive system? About my circulation being good? It's only sometimes for some people when they're sick that they realize that there's somebody who's been behind that. There's a God behind that has powered my life. And the second they realize that nobody but God can help them, and started thanking God, for those people, those sicknesses went away. I've seen people who have been in debt, started thanking God for being in debt. Somehow get a cash windfall later. The best example of that is actually Rabbi Shalom Arush himself. About 30 or so years ago, Rabbi Arush had a huge debt. A debt that would have taken him years and years to just pay the interest on it. Now back then, he didn't have the same level of awareness that he's talking about. So, he started thanking God for the debts. And he started feeling like, wow, I'm getting closer to God. And he started realizing that were it not for the debts that he had, he would have never prayed so intently and with such intensity than if everything was hunky-dory. A lot of times, it's only when we have a serious obstacle that we feel that we need to tap to a higher power, that higher power being God. Same thing, stories of people who had no children for years, tried everything, tried all kinds of fertility treatments, nothing worked. When they started tapping into this idea that Rabbi Arush propagated of saying, thank you, God, thank you that I can't have any children, thank you, I know this is where I'm supposed to be, this is the best for me, I appreciate where I am, thank you. And suddenly, these people who were childless for 10 years, suddenly they had children. And in some cases, not just one child, but 2 or 3. It defies logic. And again, I tell you guys here and anyone watching that the only way to take this stuff in that we're talking about is to basically throw away your brain. Throw away your brain. The only way you can have faith in God is when you tap into that higher level of awareness. It's the only way. Now, I had a story that I was involved in a few weeks ago. Some woman came up to me and she said, "Thank you" to me. I said, "Why? Why you thank me?" She says, a few months before that was 3 months before that, I organized a lecture that actually Rabbi Arush spoke in himself. And of course he spoke about thanking God. And so after that, this woman who didn't find her soulmate for years, said, "You know what? I'm going to have a big dinner. And I'm going to invite all my friends who don't have a husband." And obviously, this can be a very emotionally distressing situation. So she invited all these friends. 10 friends came to this dinner, and they all thought she was crazy. They said, "Why are we sitting here? Why are we going to thank God for not letting us find our soulmate? What good is this?" And she said, "No, you're going to see." And so they spent the whole night thanking God. The whole night they spent thanking God for not being able to find a husband, for being alone all this time. And they said, "I know that this is the best for me. I totally believe it." And then she finished the story and she says, "I want you to meet somebody." And who was that? That was her fiance. She said, "I met this man 3 months after this dinner. And now 4 of my friends who were at this dinner are also in the process of getting engaged themselves." So we're talking about a 40% success rate. And who knows, maybe the other 60% tonight are meeting their soulmate because they're saying thank you. These are all nice stories, but obviously it's not until you experience this kind of miracle for yourself that you believe it. And I wouldn't come to you tonight, organize this, if it didn't happen to me. As I said, I'm not hired by Rabbi Arush to deliver a long advertisement for his books. I'm doing this because all these things that I discussed happened to me as well. So now I'm going to tell you about how you can achieve this state of gratitude in a real way, using what I think is one of the greatest gifts to humanity that we've been given. And this way you're going to be able to tap to the infinite power of gratitude. And that is the ability to pray to God. Now, the type of prayer that I'm talking about is not from a prayer book. Although prayer from a prayer book is wonderful, what I'm talking about is more of a conversation with God. What I'm talking about is waking up, or whether it's at night, and saying, I'm going to set 30 minutes a day to just talk to God and to tell Him what's happened to me in my day, and list as much as I can what I am thankful for. Now, you can list everything from, I had a nice meal with my spouse, I had a great day at work, I landed a great deal, or it could be something as simple, I'm healthy, I'm breathing, it's nice weather. But of course, this is just the beginning. You have to now talk about the things that are not going your way. Because if you want to get out of the place you're in, you have to talk about that. You have to talk to God about, I have anger issues. I'm angry. I was angry today at so-and-so. I was angry yesterday at so-and-so. I lashed out, or whatever it may be. Whatever it may be, And I know it sounds very strange to go and talk to God who you can't see with your eyes. Now, you can talk verbally or you can talk in your mind. The point is to get the conversation going. At first, you might not even be able to say words. Maybe you'll say 2 sentences and that'll be it. The point is to make that effort. And I can tell you that if you do that, slowly but surely, by having this daily meeting with God, you're going to have this unbelievable surge of joy and happiness, because you're going to start seeing the good points in your life. And that's going to impel you to want to do better and better and better. And that's going to make you a lot less prone to cry and complain. So you'll have less despair, less sadness, less dissatisfaction. Now, for many people, it's very hard to do this on a consistent basis. And why is that? I said before that whenever we try to do something good and we're faced with huge obstacles, it's basically your evil inclination wanting you to basically give up. So your evil inclination is going to tell you, why don't I go hang out with my friends right now? I can talk to God later tonight. Why don't I today nothing really great happened, I'll just talk to him tomorrow. Or how about I go read a book of Rabbi Arush instead of, let me learn a little bit more before I talk to him. I'm not really prepared to speak yet. Your mind is going to conjure up 10,000 reasons not to do it. Why is that? Because your evil inclination knows that the strongest, most powerful weapon of a human being is the ability to talk to God and pray. And they don't want that. They want you to be flat out, horizontal, laying down, sad, with the spirit of an old man who thinks that everything is hopeless. That's what they want from you. Now, the evil inclination too was created by God as an opposing force. If you didn't have an opposing force, you'd have no reason to try to do better. This is the only way. This is how life is. That's the way it goes. So, you have to even say to God, God, give me the strength and to not be distracted, to want to come and talk to you every day. Do it. It's a real shame to spend our lives trying to figure out with our mere intellect how to get out of difficult situations when you have such a simple solution. People are willing to go to see a shrink and talk to them for an hour. The shrink doesn't answer, doesn't give you an answer. They're willing to go on meditations, the latest fads in yoga, take fasts where you don't eat for weeks or whatever it is. But what is it? 30 minutes is all we're talking about here. 30 minutes, which I just described, can lead to a life of paradise on earth. Is it such a bad deal? Definitely not. Think about it. What is the price of happiness and reaching your life's purpose? How much is it worth to you? Is it worth to you $100? Definitely not. $1 million? More. Let's keep going. 100 million? No, we're talking in the billions. In the billions of dollars. Don't you think you can give 30 minutes a day to make $1 billion a day? You'll be the wealthiest person in the world. Wealthy in happiness and success. Is it not worth it? I mean, in life, there's no quick Band-Aid solutions. You have to do the work. And 30 minutes is a moment where you talk to God. And now, it's not only it's not only thanking God. There's many other things that come into play in this personal session. And we'll talk about it in a future class where I'll only talk about personal prayer. In fact, there's a wonderful book by Rabbi Arush, it's called In Forest Fields, which is all about this practice of personal prayer. But I will tell you, you don't need a manual for personal prayer. You don't need any instruction guide to talk to God. Just like you don't need instructions on how to talk to people, it's the same thing. It's the most natural thing you can do. Now, as you start talking to God about things such as thanking God for the good things and then for the bad things, what does God do? He brings you true intellect into your brain. He starts to help you find out the reasons why certain things are happening to you. He starts showing you why certain obstacles are happening. And you suddenly have a very high level of awareness. You have this macro view of your life. And you start seeing a real path in which you're walking. I call this a GPS for your soul. This is what you can achieve when you talk to God. And you start realizing that all those obstacles that have come in the most pinpointed surgical way into your life to bring you to this moment. And you start realizing and accepting your problems with love, because you realize that those are the things that are going to push you forward. And suddenly, you start seeing life in a whole different lens. You're totally awake. And you want to fix yourself. You want to work on yourself. And this is what also this personal prayer session. For some people it's 30 minutes. For some people it's 60 minutes. It can be 90 minutes. It can be as long as you want. People are able to work on problems like anger that all their life has plagued them, or fears that they've had all their life, and they're able to totally break them away. Like that. I know that from personal experience. And once you realize that there's really no true problems, that these problems are really just markers on the way in your journey, that they're just there to motivate you to improve yourself, there's no more suffering. Even when you're going through the problem, you say, thank you, God. I know that this is the right thing for me. I'm going to go with this. I'm going to ride this down. But I know at the end of the tunnel, there's happiness. This is what is called complete faith. Now, God created each one of us so that we can develop this complete faith. Gave us the free will to decide if we want to do that or not. It's your decision. Now, you can do this the easy way or the hard way, with billions of obstacles or a lot less. By having this faith that God is here to only give good to us, we come close to God and we really achieve our life's purpose. And there's no greatest paradise on earth. And it gets better and better with each and every day. Because the more you do it, it's a cumulative effect. And as I said before, that true faith requires you to put your intellect aside. To put it away. Take all the reasoning and theories that you have and preconceptions and cast them away. Because if you try to use your brain to figure all this out and to say, hey, this is just another cool tool or not, or maybe I'll do this Tuesdays and Thursdays, you're never going to reach that level. Now that level is available to every single person. Every person, no matter what their level of spirituality is, doesn't matter what religion, doesn't matter where they were until today, doesn't matter how much they've sinned in the past, does not matter. What matters is what we're doing from this day onwards. As long as you're going to be grateful and accept things that come, you'll only see the ultimate positive picture of your life. So, the personal prayer in the future class, we will discuss how you can really talk about deep issues. Deep issues that may have been with you all your life. It's that moment of truth. You're never going to have such honesty with anyone as much as you can have it with God. Now, God is not a shrink. God can do anything. The second he sees that his child is coming home, that he wants to fix himself. If a child goes to his dad, "Dad, I'm sorry. I really want to fix myself. Give me the tools. Give me the eyesight to see this. Give me the ability to beat my evil inclination." God, of course, is going to help you. Going to help you go the distance. Now, I thought about this, about how instead of having a class in one of the future classes, we can have a field trip. We can actually go together, if people are all down, go to a nice little forest, very close. There's forest within 5 minutes of right here. And we can literally all do our own personal prayer session. The place is huge. Each person can take a corner. And I can tell you, if you've never done it, when you come out of that forest an hour later, you're going to feel like some baggage has been offloaded. Now that's only if you're willing to speak truthfully and really use your eyes of faith as opposed to your intellect. So, in summary, now that we've seen the power of gratitude, let's take it to a higher level. Imagine what happens when all humanity starts engaging in this type of ritual of talking to God. Imagine what happens if every person on the planet wakes up and thanks God. We can achieve what has not been achieved since the beginning of time. True peace among all people, and it's not going to be some kind of hippie dream. It's going to be a reality. This is what true redemption is. The redemption that people are all looking for. It's not going to happen from one person liberating us. It's going to happen when 7 billion people are marching to the same beat. 7 billion people saying, God is one. There's only God. And we are His children. And we love you. And we thank you. And gratitude and all that great stuff. Because once we have that, we realize we're all His children. And then all the divisions between us break down. I know it seems like a far-fetched dream, but I've seen it. I've seen it when I've hung out with people who do the same thing of speaking to God. I see the camaraderie, the brotherhood. We could be totally different look-wise. One guy's got a beard, one guy doesn't, one guy's got long hair, one guy's got green hair, one guy's this religion, one guy's that religion. But we're all tapping to the same vitality of God. That is what we want. So I really hope that when you walk away from tonight, that this doesn't stay on the level of theory. Because you can hear this class 1,000,000 times. You can read the books of Rabbi Arush and other people 1,000,000 times. But if you don't go and put it to practice, if you don't go and speak to God, this is all going to stay in theory. It's never going to happen. You have to practice it. And I know it's not simple. It's not easy. But the rewards are so immense. They're infinite. That how can you not try it? How can you not do it? And you have to muster that strength to do it. So, if you like what you heard here, if you go out and do this and it does something for you, let other people know about it. Spread it. Do your own Facebook Live feeds. Tell people miracles that are happening to you, because it's not until those miracles happen to you that you're going to really 100% buy into it. You can hear me say this. You can hear me say that, man, I'm living a life, thank God, that is amazing, without having really had a huge change other than the way I look at things. But not until you try it and see that it's really true, then you'll be on board. And then if you share with other people, this is what we want to get to. Because it's really important. So, please stay connected with us to learn about our future classes. You can be connected with us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, where we have these videos reposted. You just go to Junity Now, type it in, and you'll find this. Junity, it's just a J in front of the Unity, and then Now, and you'll find it. So I really hope and I pray that these words will not fall on deaf ears, that you're going to really try it. And of course, there's amazing books you can read of Rabbi Arush, and I really suggest you get The Garden of Gratitude, The Garden of Emunah, and In Forest Fields, and all these other books. But just go out there. And if anyone has any question, we're at the point of the class where we do a Q&A. You can ask any question you want, and I can try, and as best as I can, answer it. So whoever's got a question, please let me know, and we'll talk about it right now. Thank you very, very much. Who's got to be some questions?
It was all very explanatory.
Okay.
It's not often I don't have questions.
Huh?
It's not often I don't have
That's a
questions.
I know
You did a
that.
Good job.
It's a very good thing.
So how many of you, I'll have a question. Since nobody has a question, I have questions. How many of you sincerely plan to go out there and talk to God for 30 minutes after what I just said? Okay. Now, whoever didn't raise their hand, can you share with me what is it that's holding you back? Now don't worry, nobody can see who you are except for me. Well, our Facebook buddies can't see anything.
I have different ways talking to
You have a different way of talking to him. So tell us your way, because there's many ways to talk to God.
him. בזמן תפילה,
Okay, so
בבוקר,
our friend said that
בזמן קריאת שמע,
he speaks to God in his prayer, in his daily morning prayer, or at night, and that's how he connects. So, I also thought this way was enough.
אני, כמובן שאני, אפשר בעברית?
Yeah, you can speak in any language. You speak in Hebrew, I'll translate.
אני, ברור שאני פונה אליו, אבל לא בקטע של לשבת חצי שעה ביום במיוחד.
Okay.
I find myself many times talking to him. In the car, at home, but not like to sit every day especially.
Now that's fair. I've heard that before. People saying, well, I already pray to God. Whenever I have something, I talk to Him. So I'm going to give you an example. Maybe you can understand it. Imagine someone wants to... So our friend said here that he speaks to God at different points. 2 minutes here, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, wherever, but not in this continuous 30-minute session. This 30 minutes that is concentrated. Now imagine you want to improve your fitness and you want to work out. Let me ask you how kind of results you'll get if you do 10 push-ups and then an hour later you lift you lift weights for 2 minutes, and then 5 hours later you do a couple of, a sprint of 30 seconds, and then an hour later you use some other machine for 5 minutes, as opposed to someone who goes to the gym or wherever he goes and works out continuously for 30 minutes without stopping. Now, I'm not a fitness guru, and actually there was a guy that I invited that is a fitness expert. He could have told us what he says if this method works. But I have a hunch that the person who works out for 30 minutes continuously is going to get far greater results than the person who does it sporadically, a couple minutes here and there. Because
I have my ways I would rather go to a shiur and learn things.
okay,
This is my way to connect with him, to learn more about him.
okay, that's really good point what he said. He said also, I have another way. I can go to a class like this and connect to God. But then what did I just say? I said that you can listen to this class 10 million times. You can also learn all the spiritual books that are available in the world, and you may not change 1 millimeter of your character flaws in your entire life. Because listening is different than doing. It's only when you get down to business that it works. Now, being that you are a Hebrew speaker, the word emunah, which means faith, the shorish, which is the root of it, is imun, which means training. It means work. You have to train. You have to lift. Yeah, it's not just like, let me take it in, I'm good, I'm done. It doesn't work that way. In spirituality, there's a tremendous amount of work. That's why very righteous people, they're not born like that. It's not because they learned all their lives the spiritual books and sat in a room and just didn't commit any sins. They work on themselves. They literally dissect themselves, looking every day, how am I doing today relative to yesterday? And this is what personal prayer is about. It's about looking how you're progressing day by day. Now, in some religions, there's one day of atonement. The Jewish religions, there's Yom Kippur. For some other people, it's confession. And they do it once a year, twice a year, 5 times a year. Now let me ask you, how can you possibly remember what you've done for the last 150 days, action by action, and be able to confess and say, I'm sorry, and to say, not only that I'm actually going to change everything I did in the 150 days, I'll never do it again. Now, lots of people make New Year's resolutions at the end of the year. A month later, they're forgotten because it's just that. It's not work. Real work is day by day. It's impossible for a human being to remember what they even did wrong a week ago. But when you do it day by day, you develop this level of awareness where you're like, aha, I've been trying to work on this. I made a mistake. Okay, tomorrow I'm not going to do that again. But when you do it in a consistent fashion, the results cannot be the same. Now, there's nothing wrong, and I do the same things you do. I go to classes, I do my prayers from the prayer book. These are important prayers. But what I'm talking about is something in addition that is needed. It's absolutely needed. You can't talk in your own words through the prayer book. And when you're in a class, you're not talking, you're just listening. Your views are not being heard, you're not hearing yourself. In fact, it's not about you, it's just about the class. When you pour out your heart, you discover who you really are. And who you really are may not be who you believe you are. And not only that, when you spend that much time with God, wow, man, he really spent a long time with me. I'm going to help him out. I'm going to give him powers he never had. I'm going to give him eyesight to see billions of miles away from where he was looking before. Before he could see just half a foot away. But now I'm giving him a level of vision that he never had. I'm talking about spiritual, emotional, intellectual vision. I'm not talking about vision that's physical. That's the power of that. And here again, these are all great arguments, but these are arguments of your mind. Arguments of your mind trying to stop you from doing what seems like very strange thing. And for me, it was very strange too. Very strange to do it.
Strange at all.
Not strange to you?
To talk to God?
No, but for a long time in a corner.
No.
No, like okay.
For half an hour? Probably.
Yeah, like half an hour, you know.
Just for half an hour maybe.
Once you do it, you'll say, how did I live my life without it? How did I live my life? You'll basically put a before and after. This is me, Ariel, before doing personal prayer. This is me after. Two people are not the same. I mean, they were the same body, but they have nothing to do with each other. The one, and not only that, that's what faith is. We're all trying to connect to God, but why not just connect directly? Why do I need so many different ways to go in a roundabout direction when I can just go and straight out talk to Him? He's right there. He's right there. I don't need to prepare. I don't need to do this. I don't need to go to a class. I'm just me and Him. It's my moment with God. Nobody else is going to get in the way of that. It's the most intimate relationship you can possibly have. It's far more intimate than anything else you'll experience. And you'll see. You'll see that you're not talking to the air. If you really believe in God, then you have to believe that He hears you at every second. So you don't need, so standing on a mountain or standing in your room or standing wherever you are, walking, pacing down the street in the middle of the night is not strange because He's everywhere. He's everywhere. He's ready to accept and hear whatever you got to say or not say. You could say nothing. Like I said, the most important part of this is just showing up. That's half the battle. Just show up. Okay, all right, I'm here. I heard this. Okay. All right, I got 29 minutes, 28, 26. Okay. All right, you know what? I'm not going to waste my time. Let me tell you something. Okay. I did this in my life. I don't like what I did. How do I fix this? All right, I'm being honest now. Now you start really getting honest. There's not a possible person in this room that doesn't have something to fix. There's no such person. And you know what? There's no way you're thinking. The way we're thinking about it is in a way that we're putting ourselves down. Oh man, I'm such a bad person. I did this, I did that. Well, this is not the way we're trying to do it. We're trying to do it, hey God, I'm laying my cards on the table. You actually already know what I did. Give me this higher level wisdom. Let me tap through your intellect, change myself. Let me do this. I want to get there. I want to be happy. I want to be the person that you see I should be. I want to reach my full potential. What father would not listen to that? Nobody. So anyway, that's...
For me, I speak from experience also, and I'm all aboard with you. I'm a fan of actually Rabbi Shalom Arush. I got to encounter with him about 6-7 years ago, and I read a lot of his books. And I took on all this half an hour, actually I took on an hour and a half a day of equal to do it, of just taking time and talking to him. First it was very hard. I would make it a must that I would drive actually to the beach from here, from the valley, every day. I would go there for like an hour and a half, just park my car, leave my phone in the car. I would just try to walk on the beach and try to talk. It would take me some time to even talk. Well, sometimes I was just, start with a sentence here, a sentence there, and then just walk and look around, enjoy the view and stuff like that. And then again, then I found myself that I was kind of hooked on it. And my life was getting so amazed. Everything was taken care of. Everything was, as soon as if I have an issue or something, as soon as I would come back to the car, the issue was like gone. Everything was taken care of. If it's and then I couldn't live without it actually, because it was like my trick. It was like a
Secret.
My secret thing. Yeah. Everything you need. If it's work or if it's something in your personal life or it's something, I would go and talk to Hashem, talk to God, and just everything will work out. And unfortunately, it just went down from there. I used to do it like for 2 years every day, and then I went down. I missed a day here, missed a day there. But I still do, but I don't do as much as I do then. You know, if I do now half an hour a week, then it's good for me, and I do. You know, but it's the best time for me. It was those 2-3 years was the best ever in my life that I grew so
What make you
much,
stop?
and everything fell together. Everything came together. You know.
What make you stop? What was the...
Just, I guess, the Yetzer Hara, you know, just taking away, yeah, you don't have time much, you know, now driving to the beach and come back, it takes you about 2 hours altogether, so I would go up to the mountains. So then I went on the mountains, and then I didn't, made it a consistent thing, you know. I'm good at starting stuff and not finishing it, you know.
It's the way of my life, I think everybody.
Yeah. So, but I always come back and try. I was up the mountains. I would go up here to Upper Cedar. You go Upper Cedar all the way, just park your car, just walk in, and it's like the more you're walking about half an hour, 20 minutes. It's like you're in a different world. You don't even see the valley. You don't see anything, materialistic or something. You're just like in the middle. I call it. It's like Thailand. It's all mountains, it's all green, and it's you and Hashem. And I just, I walk in there, and I feel like sometimes I feel stupid because I say Psalms, I say Tehillim, or I start singing, and then, I talk to him. I actually do all my talking even from the moment I park my car. I start, telling him and talking to him and what's going on. And, right now it's all about just saying thank you. It's all about saying thank you. And the more you say thank you, you see, like you said, you get abundance coming to you even more than you expect, more than you want, And all you say is just thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, And something, you always go back when something bad happens and something that you don't want happens, and you go back to, buy and all that, and you're sad and all that, but then when you go out there, it's, and you go out there. But again, going from there, that point also, and Rabbi Shawish has a great book. It's also the Garden. I'm looking at this book, because this book changes my life too. That Gates of Gratitude, right?
Garden of Gratitude, yeah.
Yeah, it's Gates of Gratitude, not Garden of Gratitude. He usually calls this all
in English,
garden,
yeah. In
of
Hebrew it is.
Oh, in Hebrew?
In English it's Garden of Gratitude.
So that book, that's an amazing one. The Garden of Peace for men, it really changed my relationship with the wife and the personal relationship, all that. That was amazing. I think every man, married or not married, should read that, and that is the Bible of relationship, I think. And that's all. I had to say that because I come from experience, and it's amazing. I wish I had more time to go out there, and go up the mountains and all that. And I do, again, I squeeze here, squeeze there, and my wife is doing it too. She has more time than me then, so she goes up the mountains, and she's, she does her things, and it's a precious gift that we have, and it's totally different than I understand him about saying about the praying and all that. It's, when I pray, I also connect, but you still have, God, Rabbi Shalom Arush, he's laughing about that when we pray, especially when we have the Amidah, the 18, everything comes to your mind, all your calculations, everything you went through, you want businesses and all that stuff. There's a big joke about it.
The power to
Yeah, so it's hard to
separate it.
but when you're out there, like in the forest, and you got nothing with you, no phone, no nothing, that's all. It's all you and him, and you can start talking to yourself, kind of thing, but eventually you open up, and you got no interference, and it's amazing. It's amazing. I do that a lot now. What I do is either I go up the mountains, or I do it in the midnights. If I stay up, I try to wake up in the middle of the night. I do my tikkun, and then I spend like 15, 20 minutes talking to him, and in the house, but everybody's asleep, everything is quiet. I don't touch my phone, but it takes, again, it's a few minutes of just saying thank you, and unless I have some issue or something that I spread it up more and I talk about it more. But again, it's something. It's hard to explain until you really experience it. How big it is.
I can say something. That when I came here, I'm not coming from a I'm not practical religion, and I come in, like regular Israeli. But I can tell you that all my life I've been talking with God. All my life. Like I never believed, I just know that this exists. I always talk. I always know that it's there. I put feet in every day. I'm trying my best, but I'm not the type who's going to the synagogue, and I'm not the type who's going to go and pray and open a book and pray. Maybe it's laziness, maybe it's something else, I don't know. But the talking with God really for me always helped in the way that He really reaches you to a spiritual level. It is really different. You feel like you say, what I like about what you say about the thank you, that this is the part that usually I didn't do. I'm thanking God, but I'm not thanking for the bad stuff. Like you said, it's something that I would take with me. But what I can say that really, like when Asaf says something about the praying, that he talking with God by praying, I understand the practice is something that has come from our religion for 2,000-3,000 years ago. And I respect it. But I really believe in that way that God is with us 24/7. So it means that even if we are talking with God in our way, even if it's in the mountain, in the beach, in the house, in the balcony, even with a cigarette in there, but you're still connected to Him in a level, like you say, you're breaking the wall. Like in this is no bullshit. If you pay for a shrimp $300 for a session of 30 minutes, in the end you get money from you. You have some interest with you to get a result for what you're talking with Him. With God is really you're talking, you're breaking the wall to God to bring to you. He come to you now. You just open the wall and say, you know what, this is the real deal now. You're not trying to be somebody else. This is what really happened. This is what I really agreed, and I like what happened here now. Thank you is like to do that respect. Because all our life we're doing the same stuff, and we're doing the stuff that everybody accepts us, even in our prayer. But to do the unexpected, it means to thank for something that is not good, and then see what happens. And I like the fact that you really can do this, and maybe really something will be different.
It's not only to see what happens, it's to understand that this obstacle will push you.
No, but it's like to accept it, because the minute you say thank you for something bad, this is how I see it. It's like you expected that this is what happened already.
You start to understand that there's no bad in this world.
No, bad when it comes to the situation. It doesn't, like if the situation is bad and you're accepting it, that this is right now the situation. And I can tell you something personally that happened many years ago when I still was in Israel. And after the army, I had like some bad time. And my best friend, he became religious. And when we grew up, let's say it was the opposite of religion. But when he became religion, he moved to Sderot. He's like completely different area from where we grew up. We grew up on the beach in Bat Yam, surfers, nothing to do with us. But he got to a college. And then the rockets come, the time on the war, and he go back in religion, he changed. And he called me 2 years after, listen, you have to come to visit me, bro, you have to meet this rabbi. And I'm not against the religion, I never was against, but I'm not the type of synagogue, I'm not the type of praying. I don't do this stuff. And I go just to respect him, I go to a meeting with his rabbi. And I sit with him for 30 minutes. And when I left, the rabbi told my friend Itzi, he told him, this guy is something else because he's Chiloni. But the way he talked to me is like he understands what I tried to explain to him, without even explaining to him. Because I tell him one thing. He tell me, why you not pray? Now we're in the press, you're in a tough situation, after the army, you don't. Why you don't pray now? Because then I'll be a hypocrite. Because when I had good in my life, I didn't pray. So when I'm going to be bad, I'm going to pray back for mercy, God's not going to listen.
Can I tell you something? What's the point?
But wait, hold on a second. Let me just address that one point.
And
So-
he liked it very much because when I said, because he told me, this rabbi particularly, he grew up to it. He never was Chiloni, he never was in my side. So I told him, we talk. He was a cool guy, so we can talk, boys. And I told him, listen, how can you judge me? You never did drugs.
This is what I was
You
gonna
never,
say.
yeah. I told him, how can you judge me? You never been in my world. You grew up to this world, and you will tell me that you can show me the truth. Not that I don't respect you. I'm Jewish. I respect the religion. But how can you affect me if you never been in my shoes? You never been in my world. Yeah, my friend Itzik, yeah, he was there. He's doing with me all the bad stuff, and now he come back. I don't know why. I don't judge him. But how can you tell me what is good if I tell you what he liked? What I told him is only the thing that I told him, that I don't pray now when I'm bad because I feel a hypocrite to pray when I need something. And this is what I like when you say about the thank you, because you actually need to pray even when you're good, when it's bad. You need to pray all the time, talk with God, because honestly, if you pray only when it's bad, when you're sick or when something happened and then you beg for mercy, it's like when you've been all these years when you've been good, you forget to give you this good. This is how I see it. And again, it's nothing to do with the practicing. It's nothing to do with what the stuff said that you wake up. I respect everybody's way. But for me, like you said, and I like it, that you talk about Jewish, Christian, Muslim, that for me, it's not about separation, about race. It's about what we are as human beings. If you can bring the good from you, for 30 minutes, you say 30 minutes. It can be in 1 hour, it can be in the mountain, in the beach, everywhere. But if you can bring 30 minutes that you're isolated from anything, just you and God, it's something you actually do all day, but you don't even know.
You guys know what a high level this guy is on? Honestly, you have such a bright neshama and you don't even know it. I'm telling you, your soul is directly connected to God, whether a rabbi says this, whether a person says this, whether someone tells you this, whether people think of you. You have a soul that's directly connected to God. It's never going to change.
It's never going to change because also I never asked for the proof. I never asked for the proof. I never needed the proof that this exists. I just knew it when I was a kid. I knew. I never asked for the proof. A lot of people, when you grow up and you have crisis, like you say, people have traumatized or stuff happened that make them see religion. I mentioned my best friend Itzik, when we grew up, so drugs and trans parties, whatever happened to him in his head, bring him to that situation. I know because I grew up with him. With me, I never need the proof. I knew he's there. That I'm lazy and I'm not practicing, and even Omar that is very close to me, can tell you, even to put tefillin, I put tefillin, but I don't do it in the right way, exactly by the book. I do it in my way. This is something that for me, this is religion. Religion is to really accept who you are and not trying to go up after the sheep. To do exactly what the book tells you to do. To do exactly what your parents tell you to do. Do what is inside you.
This is the difference. This is what Ariel is talking about.
This is why I like it.
This is the difference between the religion and the relationship with Hashem. Once we put Judaism in a box and we say it's religion, we're limiting our divine souls. Our purpose is really to have a relationship with God. And even the Torah, the synagogues, the prayer, it's all just vessels to have faith. Faith. To live with faith. That's what Hashem wants of us all.
With your permission, let me talk. I'm a little bit older than...
Sure.
Hang on one second. Can I address that point? You're going to talk, for sure. I want to just address one point that you said. You said so I don't know if they can hear that, but you said that you were speaking to some rabbi and you told him that you're saying, why aren't you praying now? Because during the good times I didn't pray. Why should I pray to him now when I want to cry and beg? Thing is this, is that we have to turn the page. Let's say, like I said, what matters is today. So even if you feel bad for not having prayed before, that should not stop you from now having this connection with God at this point. And I don't think you said that. But I'm just saying, because some people say, I've been such a bad person, or I did this, I'm so far away, or I don't do things according to my religion. How can I...
I didn't mean it in that way. I meant it in the way that I felt like, because I know when it's good, I know also when it was good, I knew that he belonged to, he make it good. I knew it. I just was lazy to pray and tell him thank you. This is why when it was bad, I didn't feel right. I feel like, okay, now I remember you. When I'm bad, this was my point.
Okay.
It's not because I felt like, I'm just want to be close now because I'm bad. I felt like when it was good and I know that it's him, because when I was young and I had good times and when I traveled, everywhere I go, my life was great. And I knew that this God belonged to it. I knew that he's connected to him, but I was too lazy to do even Shema Israel once a day. I was lazy. So when it was bad, I felt like it's hypocrisy for me to come now and say, okay, you know what, God, mercy me, please help me. I'm begging you for help. I felt like it's not fair. That's what's
Yeah. I still think that you don't need to be hard on yourself. At any point, you can just change the way you want to be, you know? Like where you've been till today, if you say today, well, you know what? Some of this stuff makes sense to me, you can change it today, and there won't be anything held against you. God won't be like, well, let me open your case, let me open your file, oh, here and here and here. You can make a total clean change if you want. Whatever you want it to be. Whatever you want it to be at any time, you can change. That's the beautiful thing about our relationship with God. At any point, we can do a 180-degree change to whatever it is. Not what other people think you should be, to who we really are. Any point you can do it, and you don't need to worry about your past. Because that's, again, your mind telling you, oh, look who you've been. Are you kidding me? You want to be a tzaddik? You want to be a righteous guy? Who are you to want to be that? You're this guy. You're this guy from the trance party raving or whatever. You can't do this. Come on. This is for people who are pure and holy. It's not for you. Go back to who you really are. This is, again, arguments of our mind trying to stop us from becoming who really we should be. That's all. I'm not saying in your case. I'm just saying this is the dialogue in our heads. We have it since we were young. Well, I was always like this. I was always like that. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. I'm not good enough for this. This is only for... So what I'm saying is that you're good. This is good enough for every single person. And I said it. Doesn't matter what you were till today. It doesn't matter how many sins you made. Doesn't matter what kind of life you led until today. From today on, you can make that change, and you could be in the same level as someone who's never done it, or higher, just because you have that faith in you. Faith is something that everyone can have. Everyone. It's a democracy. There's no I'm higher than you or lower than you.